My name is Renee Gregory, and I am First Assistant District Attorney at the Brooklyn District Attorney's Office, where Ken Thompson is the District Attorney. And this evening, we have heard a lot about bail reform from all aspects, from the viewpoint of the person who had bail set and did not, was now in a dilemma and did not know what to do. We've heard from defense counsel in terms of the types of arguments they would make in the Bronx DA's office, and even from Judge Grasso. But tonight, I think we can all agree that the primary goal around this discussion is minimizing incarceration. Bottom line, reducing the number of people who are at Rikers or the island, as we saw one of the persons in the film say. And when you look at minimizing incarceration, big ideas must include ways to divert people away from the criminal court system. How do we prevent them from coming in the first place so we don't even have to worry about this or be concerned with this bail argument? Now, typically, diversion programs are closely associated with being part of a disposition after a plea. So once again, we've already put the person, the defendant, the accused, in the precarious position of either bail being set or needing to come back and forth to court many times. However, tonight I'd like to talk to you about a pre-arrest diversion project, and it is called Project Reset. And some of you are shaking your head, so I see that you have heard of Project Reset. But Project Reset was a project that was launched last February of 2015, in both Brooklyn and New York. And in Brooklyn, the project was launched in the 73rd precinct. That's the Brownsville precinct. And for the most part, 16 and 17-year-olds who were arrested and received a desk appearance ticket were, and when you're 16 or 17, a parent usually comes to the precinct or is reached out to by the police officer on the phone. And these police officers were adequately trained so that they could speak to the grown-ups in these persons' lives about what Project Reset is. And most, I have to say, of the parents said, you bet, they'll be there. Because this was an opportunity for their child who had been arrested on a low-level misdemeanor, not a misdemeanor that required an order of protection, to participate in a program. And if they did participate, then they would never have to come to court for an arraignment. So a big idea, a way to avoid the bail situation. I heard Mr. Richin, I'm sorry, I can't see out there, but I heard Mr. Richin talk about the fact that there were many times when you were making bail for 16 and 17-year-olds. And so a program like this would help to avoid many of those situations. Because as my father used to say, at 16 or 17, you're the non-income bearing member of the family. So it was not as if these 16 and 17-year-olds are in on cases where bail was set, that they were in any, situation to make the bail themselves, and families might not be in the situation to help either. So once the 16 or 17-year-old received the desk appearance ticket, it does have an appear date on it, a date that you are required to return to court. But you're invited to the Brownsville Justice Center, where you will meet with a case manager who will talk to you about your life as a 16 or 17-year-old. And, again, sometimes some young people will say, yeah, I jumped a turnstile, I left my bus pass at home. So it's not as if we're looking to have intensive psychological services for that person. But what they're doing at the Brownsville Justice Center is talking to the young people and making a determination about what they think is appropriate an appropriate service based on the young person and based on the type of crime. And typically, they participate either in some type of community service, youth court, individual accountability sessions, or group sessions. They are only required to come 2 afternoons. So out of all of the menu, and there's much more that I mentioned, 2 of those items are selected, and 2 afternoons after school. But it's also with the hope that the young person comes, they like what they see, they like what they hear, they like what they participated in, and they want to stay not only for themselves, but to turn around a turnkey to help the next young person that's coming in the door who may have had some troubles. And what better way to reach out, divert this young person from going to court on this particular case, because if they complete the 2 sessions, the case is dismissed and sealed. They never have to go to court. So that return date on the DAT is not something that they have to do. So a big idea in terms of bail reform, right? Let's do something before we get to the bail issue. Secondly, I just want to quickly talk about, because I know we're running late and I'm standing between you and the reception now. The Brooklyn Young Adult Court handles 16 to 24-year-old population, again, in attempt to divert young people from incarceration. When they are arraigned on the cases, misdemeanor cases, their case is adjourned for the next week, so that when they get to the Brooklyn Young Adult Court, an assessment can happen so that we can determine, do you have any service needs? Usually with these cases, the needs may be a little bit more intensive because these accused did not receive a desk appearance ticket. But the whole purpose around the Brooklyn Young Adult Court is to minimize the chance of returning again, because I think that is what factors into perhaps bail being set on the next date. It also minimizes when you start assessing early what needs may be. And the accused also acknowledges that there is a need, or I do have a request for services. It's more than likely that that person is going to return to court. So I think it's more than likely, Judge, would you agree that that's a person who would be ROR'd? He just gave me the thumbs up. So, and it's not just about minimizing incarceration on the instant case. It's about minimizing the recycling, the coming back through the door. Briefly just mentioned drug treatment courts, mental health courts. There are lots of ways to get people to the services that they need so that they're not spending 28 months at Rikers Island. Thank you.